Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 13 of Forget Your Warranty, the review series for Gran Turismo's aftermarket tuner car selection. And this particular vehicle is an interesting one because as far as I'm aware, it's not a real world tuner car. It's actually kind of an alternate version of an existing tuner car that's already on the game. And that is the Polyphony Digital Original Nissan 350Z, with essentially the same kind of overall style and package as the non-premium Opera Performance 350Z. It's a very similar looking vehicle. It may even be an alternate version of that same car in a very similar way to the Polyphony Digital Original test car version of the Ford GT LM race car. I'm not sure if that's what they were going for here, but it certainly looks like a very similar vehicle. It has that very F1 reminiscent nose cone, similar to a Mercedes SLR McLaren, and overall it just has a very similar style to that car, with initially though a very major difference, and that is that this is a full premium, whereas the Opera Performance model is not. This car is also $5,000 cheaper than the Opera version. So the question is, how do these cars compare, because they are direct rivals to each other, and also just beyond that, are either of them worth buying at all, and if so, what for? Well, in the case of this model, you're looking at, unsurprisingly, a naturally aspirated 3.5 litre engine, fully tuned. It doesn't have a huge amount of power. 509 horsepower is less than some of the other Fairlady Zs on the game. And compared to the Opera Performance version, that is more. The Opera version has 485, so a healthy increase compared to that car. As far as torque, you're looking at 336 foot-pounds, which is, again, more than the Opera Performance version, but not as much more. That's only around 6 foot-pounds of torque more. As far as weight, it's not quite as light as you might hope. It weighs just under 1,200 kilos with the weight loss package at 1,193 kilos, and that is again lighter than the Opera Performance model. The horsepower per tonne on this car isn't hugely impressive due to the fact that the power isn't overly high and the weight isn't overly low, but 427 horsepower isn't that bad. It's certainly something that you can work with. As far as the PP fully tuned, it's most definitely too high. 549 pp is far too high for this vehicle. It's no way near fast enough to justify driving it in races at that level. Is it a bad car? No, of course not. It's actually a really good car in some ways, but it just doesn't stand a chance on almost any track against most opponents at that level. You can get some seriously quick cars at around the 550 pp level. This car just doesn't stand a chance against most of them. You can get a Nissan GTR with a strong spec at that same level. What kind of chance does this have against a Nissan GTR or other vehicles? Not much of a chance. And the main reason why is because the straight line performance on this model isn't that great. The best point about this car is by far the handling and drivability. It's a very fun car to drive, it's very beginner friendly, very responsive to handling tuning, and the handling and grip is very, very good. It's an extremely good handling car, in fact. And incidentally, it shares that trait with the normal premium 350Z, which is also a very good handling car. Now, of the two, I would recommend this car over the Opera Performance version because it's just a more impressive vehicle. It's a lower price, it's a premium, you have more power, more torque, less weight. It's just a better car in pretty much every way. But that PP really is a killer for this car because obviously in its fully tuned form that disadvantage is readily apparent. The problem is that translates to lower PP as well, because in order to get that PP to a much more realistic and usable level, you have to give up either a huge amount of power or add a significant amount more weight. And once you do that to this car, it just becomes ho-hum. It's not bad, it's just not class leading. Could it win a race? potentially on the right track with the right driver, but it's just not a solid choice to go for. There are definitely better vehicles out there to go for, not just aftermarket cars but production ones as well, especially for the price, because even though this is the cheaper of the two, 70 grand is still quite a bit considering what you actually get from the car. So overall, would I recommend buying it? Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I don't recommend it because it does have good points, but at the same time there's not really much to recommend about it. It has very good handling and that's about it. Everything else is kind of just okay. Even the normal road-going 350Z from Nissan has more power, a significantly higher top speed, and is cheaper. So if you really are a 350Z fan, I'd basically just recommend going for the Nissan version, and if you really want it to look better, just fit some body upgrades. This car is a little too niched for its own good. It doesn't quite have the aftermarket tuner appeal of the Opera Performance version, but it is a superior car to that in terms of what you get for the cash. So it's the kind of car I'd recommend really if you've already got everything else and just fancy trying something different or having it in your collection for the sake of it. That's the kind of car that this is, at least in my opinion. I don't use it for racing or anything for that matter because it's just not competitive enough for its given PP. But that's it overall. A bit of a mixed review for this one because it's kind of an awkward car to work with. But that's it for this review overall. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.